Surtoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. The wait is over.
Let's get this thing started. Welcome, one and all across the nation and around the world. I welcome you all to episode 128 of the In or Out Sports Debate. I am your host, Drew Willingham, and we are back, like I said, for 128 through In or Out Sports Debate. And we got to bring back an 8-time Vault of Fame inductee going for 9. He is the head honcho of the Legacy Maker Sports Network, as well as one of the big ones over there at Bowie TV with his photography and videography skills, and the former Mr. Rollback of Walmart Supercenters. Give it up for my man, Mr. Darrell Owens. Welcome back there, brother.
Yeah. We almost there. I'm 2 thumbs away, baby. Just 2 thumbs away. And then your boy can be officially in the double-digit club. That's the goal. Yeah, you got to get in the double digits to be a real player here, you know. But I'm high. I'm high single digits, but we good there. We good.
That might be a new rung to climb, because I've thought of it as like with the leaderboard. If your name actually shows and you're outside of the panelist section,
Yes.
If your name actually shows, you've made it. And you've already been there with the 8 times, brother. But yes, with the double digits, it takes you to another echelon of like tier. So yes, you were so close. And I look forward to having that here very soon. 2026 around the corner. I don't know if we'll be able to make it happen this year.
Maybe not this year, but in due time.
This is the first episode of December. We finally made it to December. Last time you were here was August, episode 121. And that, out of all these episodes, that episode started a very interesting next couple of months, which those who've been paying attention to the program, and that was the day that one of my teammates passed away. Right. And you and I were about to get started. Like, it was like 15 minutes before we were about to get started with episode 121. And I got the phone call, and we actually, I appreciate you again for we were able to delay it a little bit, because you knew it right when I couldn't do it right away. Like I was pretty upset, and you even said that you would have been mad if we had to postpone it, but we powered through it. But to end the year on a better note, we have episode 128, and everything from start to finish. We got some great topics, some fire topics, already some fire in the chat we got to talk about. It's going to be a great one tonight. Greetings to one and all. Let this Tuesday night get funky like a monkey. Rest in peace, American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Funky like a monkey, baby. You got to start December the right way. It's only the sexiest month of the year. Just tossing that out there.
Yes.
Tossing it out there.
Every year, your number one is December.
It's all we in there.
Yeah, you're in there. You got a number change coming up for yourself. You're elevating to a new year. But just like it comes to that in the American Dream.
You guys want to hear a fucking story?
The story is this: December is the sexiest month of the year, according to my man Dio.
We try to make it. We try to make it as cute as possible, ladies and gentlemen. The awesomest month of the year is fastly approaching as well. So we're creeping right along the lines here. We got sexiness to awesomeness. It all works out. You know what I'm saying? The struggle is real to be awesome. We're gonna be awesome in January. We're just saying it like we're saying it. You know what I'm saying?
Since you say it, I'll say it.
Surtoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
I had to. Yeah, with the button. And thanks again, Sick, with the hoodie. Sick joining us all the way from Norway, which makes this program international. So for those of you out there who are watching, keep on sharing. Keep on sharing, so we can keep making this spread across the world. But with all that being said,
let's get ready to rumble!
as we take this on into round one.
Round one.
And here with round one, WWE should plan War Games matches throughout different premium live events instead of solely Survivor Series. How do you feel about this one, Darrell? Are you in or
I'm
are
out.
you out on this?
I'm out, brother. I'm out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm out on this one because look, every pay-per-view has what's the way? They got this special thing to it. SummerSlam's the biggest party of the summer. WrestleMania is WrestleMania. The Rumble is the Rumble. Survivor Series used to be the Survivor Series matches, which they had on SmackDown, but I'm not even gonna get into that because that's a whole nother fight. But the War Games the last couple of years have made Survivor Series what Survivor Series kind of gives it a different flavor on the former Survivor Series matches. But I like this because when I know Survivor Series coming up, I know War Games is coming up, and I can hear William Regal in my head screaming about War Games. Now, what I do miss is War Games being on NXT because, and even though I think they've done pretty good, being on the main roster, we had CM Punk return a couple years ago. That was special. We've had some really good ones with the Bloodline going up against some people. It's been cool. I think they should keep it. I think they should keep it the way they have it now. Now, this year's maybe not the best one. A lot of fans are not thrilled with the way this went down.
No.
So, and including myself, they had some already moments in there. I'm not going to say it was completely garbage, but War Games always has a special feel to it. And, this one kind of felt semi put together, even though there's so many different storylines in here. Drew's got beef with Cody. Drew's got beef with CM Punk. He hates the Bloodline completely. They all have beef with each other, but it just felt like even Vacant up there, my man Vacant up there's got beef with CM Punk because he gave him the curb stomp of all curb stumps. So I think that's what made this one a little bit different this year. To not have a actual Survivor Series match at Survivor Series is mind-blowing to me. You got to have at least one. The women's match was actually really good. I thought that was probably the better of the two matches. It was good to see Dominic Mysterio go in there and get his title back. I know they gave it away for Cena reasons, but it's Cena, so you just let him get what he wants. He's only got a couple more matches left. But yeah, overall, I gotta say I would keep it there. I'm out on it because I just think you got to find ways to maybe just build it a little bit more special. But War Games being Survivor Series now, I don't know if I want to see it anywhere else.
I really like your take on that, but I have to disagree for the sake of debate. But for other reasons, I'm going to bring it up right now. I am in. The reason why I say that I'm in is the whole scope of Survivor Series, like you were saying in part of your argument, is not the same as it once was because we don't even have a traditional style Survivor Series match. We're seeing those on the event before, like SmackDown, where we had the elimination match between the MFTs and Team Sammy, which it was a pretty decent match for SmackDown, but when you see that, you automatically know that we're not going to get the traditional style Survivor Series, which we have not seen in quite some time, where we had Team Raw and Team SmackDown, or at least one-on-one matches with the heavyweight championship of one brand and the other, in Intercontinental US champion with the men's. We could see stuff like that with the women's divisions, which we're only now getting at like Crown Jewel when they have like the ring the knockoff ring AEW match for the ring that they do every year. Like it's literally they knocked off of that because as soon as they started talking about Cody defending his ring last time with the crown with that, I started thinking about MJF and all the times he's won the ring for AEW. So it's a knockoff, but I digress with that. My take is, if you take the whole War Games concept out of Survivor Series, maybe have a match with a War Game style, but you don't have an actual event surrounding it. You used to see War Games at the Great American Bash for WCW and other events throughout the year, Halloween Havoc or whatnot. It would be one match. It would be a stipulated War Games match. And of course, like some other pay-per-views for WCW, they would have multiple War Games matches within, but they didn't have something like the Great American Bash War Games. It was just the Great American Bash with some War Game style matches within it that were, of course, the main event of the pay-per-view, but the name of it wasn't War Games. So the reason why I say in is take the War Games out of Survivor Series altogether. Keep it as just Survivor Series. Go back to the old style that worked for so many decades up until what you've changed. Because people didn't like WrestlePalooza this year. We already know how much that was, because Corey and I did the episode for The Grind. It was actually the last one before he went on hiatus, called WrestlePatrash, because that's literally the recap of it. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And those of you who have not seen that yet, please go back and watch it for your own entertainment, because my face got red a couple times. I had to make sure I rehydrated with this because, you know, I was having a little bit too much of the Celsius and the vitamins that day. I was pumped full of vitamins, sugar-free vitamins, Celsius. Gotta love it. We are not sponsored by them. I just love it now. All right. But back to this, like with War Games, I just feel like it would be better spread out, even have one WrestleMania match as a War Games match, possibly. Like introduce it to different, you know, of course, Royal Rumble, the way that's designed, you're not gonna be able to fit a War Games match in that, because you got to have the construction of the two rings. So whether it's the Great American Bash with NXT, which they were doing a lot with the War Games over at NXT for many years before they brought it up to the main roster, if you can do that and maybe work it in one time a year or at most twice, but not necessarily for an entire pay-per-view to be built around, I think it would be better off than just doing it and changing Survivor Series to Survivor Series War Games. Go back to what worked, and that's why I support part of your argument. But for this in general, I mean to spread it out, and that's why I say in.
Yeah, I definitely see a vision on that. I think that's not, no pun intended, I'm not trying to vision, you know. But yeah, I definitely see a vision on that, because I could see that happen. And you are 100% correct. It wasn't a Pacific pay-per-view. It was just, hey, we're going into War Games. Just like Hell in a Cell was, you can, you know, before they made it a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell used to be bouncing around. So I could see it and wouldn't be upset about it. My biggest thing is I'm just worried, because I feel like Survivor Series has become the weaker or the lesser of the pay-per-views. I look at Money in the Bank a little bit more important than I look at Survivor Series. You know, like I enjoy Money in the Bank more because I know what's in stored with Money in the Bank. And so, you know, Survivor Series, I think that's the only reason I'm like, you got to keep something special for Survivor Series. Now, I agree. They should either go back to the old school, you know, if you're going to do it, you go back to the old school Raw versus SmackDown, or you can go back to my generation when when you used to have the Hulkamaniacs against the Bushwhacker, or like, you know, or the Canadian Squad versus, and they would have great names to go with the teams. I mean, I'll be cool with that.
You already have a match next year, if you go back to it, which is Team Cody versus Team Roman.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, you could do that again. I mean, so there's multiple possibilities. But if you did it once a year for some other different style event, I feel like you could go back to the old traditional style of Survivor Series, which is how it's lasted. It's the second longest running PLE behind WrestleMania. Like this was out before the Royal Rumble was out.
Yeah, it was special. Like I said, I really enjoyed the early days. Like I would go back and just watch some of those early day ones, and the teams would be random. It'd be like the Millionaires taking on the Ultimate Warriors, and then there'd be Ultimate Warrior and Mr. Perfect. And it'd just be like, who did you put in this match? And it would just be some crazy stuff. So I used to enjoy those. But yeah, I wouldn't be hurt if they made the move, like you said, and say, hey, let's toss a War Games match at SummerSlam or WrestleMania, because that could be really cool. And I wouldn't be never opposed to, spreading it out, but they've got to find a way to keep Survivor Series relevant.
And they've got to do a much better job, because I mean, Money in the Bank, you can't really do that. But what if you have like a title unification match? Then you could do a War Game style match. Well, at the same, you'd have to have multiple teams in there in order to do it that way.
Yeah.
So creatively, I feel like you could find a way to write that in a better way than what you did for this past show, because there's only so many times the Io Sky can throw herself into a trash can and throw her around to amuse people. And as entertaining as the yeeting is, right? It was entertaining, but at the same time, like, you got Brock Lesnar coming out right after that.
Yo, Brock came out there, everybody got quiet.
Everybody got quiet.
Everybody was like, "Oh, here comes
It's
Brock."
like, I feel like if you were going to do that, you should have had Jay come out the time before that to give it, to actually be able to work that in the right way. Like, I just don't feel like they wrote that in the best direction. And yeeting on top of the cage, you come in there, everybody's down. You were yeeting for 3 minutes. Like, you think that they're going to believe that they're just laying down in a cage for 3 minutes?
Just taking a break. It's like, hey man, get this 3 minute break while you can. Go up there, and do your thing, Jay. Say less.
No wonder why he is so out exhausted before he gets halfway through the match.
He was out of breath on the top of the cage, and he's sitting there talking about something. Oh, and I'm like, bro, like, I don't know. It was a lot going on. It was definitely, and you got CM Punk playing the guitar with the chair, and I'm like, all right, we got too much going on. Cody was laying up against the ropes. I'm like, and then they still lost the match. All at the still lose the match
because he yeeted all of his energy out of himself. 6 says y'all should be a tag team, either the Sexy Awesome or the Awesome Sexy, since we were talking about the sexiest month of the year.
I don't think you can go wrong either way there.
Sick agrees with you, though. He says, I'm out. They need to have traditional Survivor Series matches in the Survivor Series. War Games should have its own PLE with the match as the main event. So technically, Sick, it sounds like you're in, because they should plan it throughout different PLEs, whether it be one PLE itself or multiple ones. Yeah, you have your own, like NXT had NXT War Games like a while back. So whether you do it with NXT or if the main roster has its own War Games concept, do it not in the cold weather where there's more risk of injury. Yeah. Like, do it when it's warm outside. Do it, you got the Elimination Chamber. You can have WrestleMania, Money in the Bank not long after that. How about in between that and SummerSlam, you have War Games?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can mix it up. You got enough space in the year that you can, make it happen. If you have a major pay-per-view every 2 months, that's possible, and still make it happen. Rumble's in January. Technically, Elimination Chamber is its own little monster too, because they've made Elimination Chamber more of a, whoever doesn't win the Rumble, you win the Elimination Chamber, you get the other title match. So if you really look at it, there's like, some pretty good ones in there. Yeah. So
yes, you're good, Sick. But with that, I feel like if you did it in between, like, you could make it one of the international shows, because you have like the Clash of the Castle in the summertime or whatnot, in between that, where Drew was going after Cody for the title or whatnot, like times like that. You have different opportunities where you can work that in my opinion. So he says LaParca should have sued CM Punk for the gimmick infringement. How dare he play the chair guitar?
He was playing he was trying to get it in too. I was like, all right. He was just missing the LaParca dance, and then that's all he would have needed from there.
Based on watching CM Punk wrestle this year, I mean, I am a CM Punk fan, but based on watching him this past year, you would think this is more of his retirement tour than John Cena's, because John Cena has got a lot more left in the tank than CM Punk.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason he came back too. Like, a lot of people say, he wants to try to eventually maybe head down to NXT and do that there. Because I mean, Shawn Michaels wasn't even supposed to be like. Shawn Michaels wasn't doing that long term. Like, Triple H had to force Shawn Michaels to take, or not force him, but persuade him to say, hey man, take NXT. And now he's done such a great job. I don't know if Shawn Michaels is just gonna leave right away, but I know that's something that CM Punk eyes. He wants to work with development. So it'll be interesting to see how many more years they push it, or let him run shop.
CM Punk could be an understudy to Shawn Michaels, and then when he's ready to step down, then he fills the role, kind of like how, Triple H was primed whenever the time came for Vince. Like, that's why he was so ready to take it and has done a fairly decent job as running the company wise and working with other people to do that.
Yeah.
There's other things creatively we can argue about, which is part of what we just discussed with this topic. But overall, he's done a great job. Considering how everything happened with the ladies and all the other stuff that was going on in the background with old Vinnie Mac. But overall, they built a well-oiled machine from the 80s to now, Survivor Series being a staple of that part of it, because WrestleMania helped fund Survivor Series. So without that pay-per-view, we wouldn't have never had Survivor Series. And now we have this altered universe today that we have to look back on and say, all right, can we make a little bit changes? How about going back to what worked, in my opinion?
Yeah, I missed it, man. I missed the old times. It was some good stuff. It was some good stuff back then, but we'll see what they do.
Speaking of which, it's time to go to round 2 and see what we got for the next topic.
Round 2.
Here with round 2, we got to take it to your Green Bay Packers. Defensive tackle Devonte Wyatt's knee injury will provide an insurmountable challenge for the Packers this season. Darrell, how do you feel about this one right here when it comes to your Packers?
Ooh.
Will they make it to the playoffs, or will it be an insurmountable challenge for them? Stuff.
I'm out. Whew. This is a good one, Drew. It's a really good one, because insurmountable is such a tough word in this situation, because all right, when Green Bay decided to trade for Michael Parsons, the one piece of the puzzle that I did not want to see go was Kenny Clark. Those draft picks you could have gave him another second round. That's how much I love Kenny Clark. Which, side note, I did get the chance to speak to Kenny about this at the Dallas game for like a split second when we were all going off the field. And I just went up to him and I'm like, man, Green Bay should have never let you go, brother. They should have never let you go. And he said, you damn right. And then he dapped me up. And I just told him I appreciate you all you do. I just want to throw that quick story there. Now, back to this. Here's the thing. Losing Kenny was big to me because I thought him and Wyatt together, like Kenny showed Wyatt a lot and helped really kind of guide him in, to get him to where Wyatt was playing at this season. And so I think the Packers felt so confident on the development of Wyatt that they said, hey, we can let Kenny go in this trade. And Wyatt's had a great year leading up to this point. Like, he's had a really good year, and it made it feel like, okay, we let Kenny go. But even in let Kenny go, Wyatt's played so well, you haven't noticed it all the way. You know what I'm saying? And then Micah being what he's been, and that defense it's been a top 5 defense all year, which is, I can't even believe I'm saying that out loud, because the Packers, it's always about offense, and that defense has always had a little bit of struggle.
Yes.
But I say it overall because now the Packers, I think they'll make the playoffs still. So that's why I don't want to say it's insurmountable, but it does pose a really tough challenge because they got rid of Kenny because they trusted Wyatt. And now who is going to step up in that role and be that piece of the puzzle to help push that and keep that Packers defense moving right along? I'll sit here and be honest with you. I have no clue who the backup is. I probably should know this, and I probably do, but I can't spit it out right away. That's how bad that is to me. Like, not having Wyatt there is like, oh no, oh no. But they've played so well. I don't want to just say it's insurmountable, but it is definitely going to be a daunting task to not have Wyatt there to help keep, to give, the reign that Rashawn Gary and along with Michael Parsons and those guys doing so well. It's just going to be a very tough deal not having them there. But, the Packers, the crazy thing is, they're not even my biggest concern. The offense is inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
and it pisses me off, man, because two games, Browns and Panthers. Now, granted, the Panthers are actually playing better than everybody expected. But that Browns game, tough defense or not, the way the offense just kind of disappeared in that game, I'm like, okay, that's more of a bigger problem to me than the defense, because I think the defense will be able to find a way. I think they'll have a guy that can step up here and there. The offense consistency is going to be Green Bay's problem.
You bring a lot of great points to the table. For the second topic in a row, I disagree. I am in. You almost convinced me, to be honest, but at the same time, we got to have some entertainment within the show. So I can't agree with everything you say.
I tried my best. I tried my best to convince you.
You did a really great job, but I have to look back at what the points I was going to bring before we even started the show, because I knew that you were going to go out on this based on where we're at. The team overall 8-3-1. They're not playing bad. Any other division, they'd more likely be leading it, but they have the Bears and the Lions in their division, and the Vikings with JJ McCarthy and his alter ego of 9, and how he's been playing 9. He throws like 9, 10, 11 interceptions.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
that's gonna
bad.
I get the privilege to see that this weekend.
Bad. Looking at how they let Sam Darnold go, like, you know, I bet you they're regretting that, seeing what he's been doing with a 9-3 team now over there in the NFC West. And unfortunately, he has the 49ers and the Rams over there, to where all three of those teams have 9 wins right now. The Rams are 9-3, the Seahawks are 9-3, and the 49ers are right behind them at 9-4, based on what we just saw from them. So overall, they got a tough spot there. But when it comes to the Packers, they're the only other division in the NFC that's this tight as far as who's going to make or break. You literally have to have a division championship for the season in order to guarantee yourselves for the playoffs, because we can see what we almost saw in the NFC East a couple of years ago, where you have all 3 teams make the wild card playoff spots, and then you have the division winner too. So that could potentially happen. I don't see it happening this year with what I have over here on my right screen, but for the North, you have a really good chance of having 1, if not 2 representatives, just like the NFC West does, because the Bears right now, if the season ended, they would win the division at 9-3. The Packers more than likely would get the 7, because they have 1 less loss than the next. Well, the Eagles are actually going to win the division, so it doesn't really matter there. It would be the Rams winning the NFC West. You have the Seahawks and 49ers who have 9 wins, and then the Packers who are 8-3-1 right behind them. You would make the 7 right now. But my biggest concern is you still have the Lions right there who are 7-5. And they, even though they don't have as good of a squad overall, because they've given up more points than you on defense, they still put up the most points in the NFC North. And that you have to consider strongly when looking at how explosive their offense still is. Their defense has had issues, and they've had different coaches on offense and defense, which is why they're at 7-5 right now and not higher, and exploiting you more for your inabilities to score, because you're barely above the Vikings as far as points forced in the division. So your defense has helped you out tremendously overall, because you've given up the fewest amount of points in the division. Like you were talking about, the defense, it's tough to find a solid 2, but overall, collectively, the Micah Parsons trade wasn't horrible on you, like, because that shouldn't impact the way your offense is scoring. And the offense had issues, Jordan Love, etc. And, offensive line struggles with protection. We've seen it all with your team this year, but you still have an 8-3-1 record. So overall, you look good. My concern that I'm basically going to argue with, even though a lot of what I just said supports what you just said, you have a bunch of division games, and you have 5 games left, and you've got to play the Bears twice, and the Bears are currently above you in the division. You lose once to them, the division's gone, in my opinion.
Sunday's huge. Sunday's real huge.
You split with them. I feel like you're still going to lose, because they're going to have one more or like the tiebreaker in that case, because of record or whatnot. And it's tough for the actual wild card too, because it looks like the NFC West is guaranteed to have the top 3, the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers in there, and 2 of them are going to be wild card spots, regardless of who wins the division, because they're all pretty red hot right now. So I feel like between the Panthers, it's going to be between the Panthers and the Packers for the 7 seed, and that's how you get in. And Panthers have been kind of hot with what they've been doing this year. They are a totally different team than what we've seen over the last few years, and especially if you lose 2 games to the Bears, that not only hurts you for the division, but then that hurts you with overall record, and that's where the Panthers could creep up and take that 7. And because I just feel like regardless who wins the NFC West, whether it be the Rams, Seahawks, or 49ers, the other two teams that don't win that division are going to be your 5 and 6 as far as your seeds. So all that collectively, you're gunning between the Lions and the Panthers. And in your last 5 games, you have the Bears twice. You also have the Broncos.
Yep.
I don't know if you can beat the Broncos right now with how they've been playing. They've been another hot team that you got to face. The Ravens are hot and cold with how they've played this year. They are a team that can beat you, but I think you have that game. I really think you have that game on December 28th. And the Vikings, come on, we're not even going to argue that one right now because
I hate
of how things have been. But just when you think that just because of how bad they're playing, a team that has 4 wins can still sneak up and bite you.
This is true.
And we've seen it in history. So these last 5 games are actually, in my opinion, probably one of the toughest 5-game stretches that you have. Luckily, you do have 8 wins right now. But you lose 5 straight, you still have an 8-1 record, but that's not going to be good to get to 7, in my opinion.
It's a really tough, the way it's set up is really tough because you still have – so you got Chicago this week, all right? You got Chicago on Sunday. Then you got Denver, pre-sexiest day of the year. And then on the following Saturday, you got Chicago again. Then they play on Christmas. And I can't remember who they play on Christmas, but they play on Christmas.
They play the 28th.
They play the 28th? I don't know why I thought they played on Christmas. No, so that was last year they played on Christmas. So they got that, and then they play the 28th, and then they have the season against the Vikings. So in my mind, if you want to make the playoffs, you got to at least split with the Bears. Got to find a way to win. I would say you obviously got to win the Vikings game. Split with the Bears, win the Vikings game. But if you need to win 3 of these last 5 to feel comfortable,
beat the Ravens.
Beat the Ravens. That's what it is. So the Ravens. So you're
not going to beat the Broncos unless it's a major upset, in my opinion.
So let me. My one thing about the Broncos, after watching them on Sunday, I said to myself, the Commanders played a really good game against them. The Broncos have a little bit of what Green Bay has problem, where defensively, monster, but occasionally the offense will go into these little funks. And that's what happened a little bit in that Washington game. Washington was able to hey, they know how to handle it. And we've seen a couple times this year where the games like Green Bay lost with the Panthers and the Browns, the Broncos had those same exact games against teams like the Jets. And I think they the Giants, they had to fight back to beat the Giants. The Giants were beating them by 26-8. And then they came back and so that's what I'm saying. I don't want to. The Denver's good. I've seen it. They're good, but they do have some of those Green Bay qualities where you have to the consistency doesn't completely. It's not completely there all the time. So Green Bay's got to take advantage of it. They've got Chicago at home, the Ravens at home, and then they're going to have Denver at home. So they got 3 home games in here. You take care of home. At the minimum, try to take care of home, and I think they'll be okay. It's going to be a fight, though. I guess this is going to be a fight. Dallas is creeping up, too. Just to throw that out there. Dallas is creeping up, too.
Yeah, and they are, but overall, they still have a taller hill to climb.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I have a lot more faith in your abilities over the Cowboys. I would say I have a lot more faith in the Panthers than the Cowboys, based on what I've seen, because Cowboys been hot and cold. I'm not trying to be a hater just because of the hoodie I got on, but I'm just being real. Some games I'll tell you yes, but some games I'll tell you it's just been too much up and down.
True.
And maybe in a year or two, we could argue that some of these moves that Darrell made over there in Jerry World.
Darrell.
That guy over there. Yeah, the moves that he made might fully pay off, but I know that you're missing your guy over there, Kenny.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, it was a real cool experience. It was a real cool experience because I didn't think he would say anything. I was just saying, "Hey man," and then he said, "I was like, oh, this is pretty cool." He dabbed me up, gave me a hug, went off the field. And I was like, "Damn it, Green Bay!" All I can say to myself, I was like, "Man, that's crazy."
But he remembered you though, so that's even more important.
It was a good deal. It was a good deal.
6 says, one thing I've learned about the NFL is that anything can happen, and the playoffs are a war of attrition.
True. In this year, more than anything, is a toss-up year. Every NFL fan must pray that the Chiefs don't get in, because if they don't, like, I feel like this year is just going to be one of those fun, it could be anybody type of years, because that's the way the season is gone. Even as good as the Patriots have been, even good as the Broncos have been, the Rams, we've seen it. You know, Rams lose this game to the Panthers. Panthers are better than what we thought. You know, it's just, it could be a fun year. I just don't want the Chiefs can come back in and get in next year, not this year. I want to see what this year plays out without the Chiefs in there. I just want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm tired of the Swifties and all that. We need a break. Let them plan out their wedding, do their wedding stuff, and keep the playoffs out of it. Let us look at the actual football and the fans. Like it. Let some people who've never been on national TV be on TV for once. You don't need to take all 15 of those clips. You can take 2, maybe 3, and give the other 14 to the people, as The Rock would say. Let the people have their moment. They paid their money and did all their traveling. You got first class flights and everything. Don't even get me started with that.
You like that? You like that?
I do, Kurt. I do.
Yeah. Rant itself.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Had to bring it on out. Had to drop some dimes out here, as Six says. If the Chiefs miss the playoffs, somebody is going to be doing the praise dance. I think a lot of people. It's similar to the Patriots when they had their dynasty. And it wouldn't be as bad if it wasn't for the Swifties. The Swifties made it twice.
Yeah, they did. They made it worse, didn't they?
Yes, because at first people were actually cheering for the dynasty because of Patriots. Tom Brady give us something different. Of course, he still has a long way to go, that being Patrick Mahomes, to getting anywhere close to GOAT status, because he not only has 7, but Brady did it with 2 different teams and his 40s for his last one.
True.
So there's a lot more argument that you can give where Patrick Mahomes was a result of a great defense and the weapons around him on offense and the coaching, and all the veteran leadership that he had when he first came in. So, which I'm not knocking him. Any one of us would love to be in Patrick Mahomes' shoes and have that opportunity and to have that success. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that is part of why that argument is valid more so for Tom Brady than Patrick Mahomes.
Agree.
So, right here with round 2, Packers. Right here. Let us know if you agree or disagree out here in the chat. But before we get to round 3, we got some breaking news. And that breaking news is this. Back to our regular time, Sunday, 8:05 p.m. Eastern time. Episode 129, Rob Johnson, the third place specialist here for the panelist of all of them out here in these streams, number 16 time, going for 17 this Sunday, 8:05 p.m. Eastern time. Rob is back.
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson. Back with this time, ready to rock and roll. He will be here Sunday, 8:05 Eastern time, only on
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
All right, a little bit of a PSA real quick before we get to round 3. StreamYard, you need to get together. There's been some delays with the quick action of the button.
Terrible.
You know how it is.
Oh, because my God.
You saw the intro. It kind of like went in, out real quick. And then, it glitched. I had to click the button like 3 times because I clicked it. It would go in, out. And I was like, I know we're in or out, but you don't do it. I do it.
Like, hey, I feel you on that, man. I think the last episode I did on 101, I was waiting for a graphic to appear. And I'm over here like freeze posing, hoping that like in the post it look better. Because sometimes I realize that it'll like on our end it can look miserable, but when the show actually plays, you're like, oh, that's not that bad. But like, here's me, I'll be like, and now. And I'm over here, pause, waiting for the video to show on my end, and I'm like, whew. Come on, stream, y'all, get it together. Don't be charging us no more money. Just get it together.
Just go ahead and update your server, man. Let's just get it on out. We're paying too much for this. Now that's the end of my PSA. Brought to you by
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Now that all the shenanigans are aside, let's take it on into round 3.
Round 3.
Here with round 3, let's take it to Major League Baseball for a second. The Seattle Mariners need to sign free agent Alex Bregman. With this topic in hand, how do you feel about this one, Darrell? Are you in or are you out on this?
I'm in. Look, you can never go wrong with having a multiple-time World Series winner come into that locker room, despite everything may have look the way he may have gotten that World Series, but he has the experience. But he has the experience. So, like, my thing about it is this: maybe not his greatest year last year, but he did make the All-Star team for the first time in what I think like 6 years. I think with Seattle, Jerry has done a really good job of bringing in the right pieces at the right time. The third base is a little bit of a hole there for Seattle. They've had some good Bliss came in, did some decent things. They had some players that come in and did some all right things, but not maybe a stalwart down there at third base. The Mariners had really good hitting last year, for the most part of the year, especially in the playoffs. I mean, they had some moments, but they were really cooking in the playoffs. The pitching is in a really good spot. I think you bring him in, it doesn't hurt. And like I said, biggest thing is just the veteran presence in the locker room. They've got some really good pieces on this team. And if we learn anything from the Dodgers, I mean, they have loaded up on just veteran talent with a nice little hint of up and coming Japanese stars. And it just works. You know what I'm saying? So it's, for me, I'm in on it because of that. And I'm just intrigued. Like, look, you can't beat them, join them. Astros always had our number, man. I just, and then what happens in the Dargon ALCS, we see a former Astro and Springer just kill all our dreams. If I need an Astro to come on this team and help balance out the power to help us finally make that leap into the World Series, I don't even care at this point. I need it, but no, I would like to see him come in. I think that he could at least help, even if he's not starting or being a main contributor, somebody who could come in and kind of help push the Mariners along.
So you kind of have that feeling like the Yankees fans had when Johnny Damon left the Red Sox and came to the Yankees. Yeah. Where it was split, where some of them were like, okay, we got talent coming in, help us get to the next level, which even though it took them a few more years. Right. But coming from teams that, well, in his case, just one team in 2004 that had beaten the curse of the Gray Bambino, getting the championship, it eventually helped them out. You got that same where you're the part of the 50% that's like, no, I don't want him over here. He's part of the trader, don't want him. Egging trash cans, all sorts of stuff. Don't want you on our team. Yeah, hand signals, all sorts of stuff. No,
they were the Three Stooges, like whatever the signals they were using, man. The only good thing about that Astros team is Dusty Baker got a ring. I've always been happy for that. I'm a big Dusty Baker guy. So,
but he was part of the non-cheating team,
right? So that's why I was like,
afterwards.
That's the only thing I like about the Astros is that he finally got. Look, Dusty's been an amazing manager everywhere he goes. He's putting every place he went, he took them to the playoffs. The Nationals, the Reds, the Rockies. I think he was with the Rockies. Was with the Rockies one time. I think he was with the Rockies, if I'm not mistaken. But every place he went, Giants
for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like every place he went, he did good things. Chicago, it wasn't the Rockies, it was Chicago Cubs, Astros. He did it all. So that's the only good thing I like about the Astros. He was the only thing. It's the only time I ever rooted for the Astros. He
saved careers. He saved careers when he did that because that was still after the looming scandal of all that happened from that first championship. And had he not coached them to their championship, we might not be talking about someone like Bregman today, and others from that team. Verlander was still going to be, Verlander regardless. I mean, he still was hot before that when he was with the Tigers. But with all that being said, I cannot disagree with you on this. I'm in as well. It's gonna cost you a good amount of money. It's going to be like 150 somewhere between 150 to 180 million dollars based on the reports I've read, in the preparation for the episode. But it's like you said, you need that veteran leadership, and that's what teams. We look at the Commander situation, which we'll talk about a different sport, but they brought in veteran pieces this offseason to help a team that had just gotten to the NFC Championship, hoping that if everybody stayed healthy, you could get them to the next level.
Exactly.
And this is basically what you're doing in baseball. And baseball is completely different in comparison to the NFL and the NBA when it comes to the structure of how they can bring in talent. Right. You have different ways. Like, of course, they still have trade deadlines and there's free agency, but there's really not much of a salary cap, if any. It's based on how much the owner has. So if you're loaded, which that's how the Dodgers are buying championships, because they have so many partners and can afford to spend ridiculous amounts of money, because it makes sense, because the way they're getting it back in marketing, and there's always the stands are always packed because they have a good team.
No.
Like, you're making it back, plus your prices of tickets and everything are ridiculous if you go to an actual game in comparison to other teams like the Nationals or like Orioles that are more local to us over here on the East Coast, or Baltimore, or even though they're a good team, still those areas, like, going to an Orioles game or the Nationals game in comparison to a Dodgers game, and then you're looking at the Mariners doing the best they can. They're like a smaller market of a team. Yes, they've got history looking back to Griffey Jr. and Ichiro and the big unit and so on, but they don't have money like the Dodgers would. So you need to, in order to establish that you can not be a one-year wonder, which you guys have been building on this for the past several seasons. You've been climbing and getting better each and every year for at least a half decade. You and I've talked about it on this show several times about the Mariners and had ways, whether it was Julio Rodriguez or now we're talking about Alex Bregman, or before talking about good old Cal. We got other different types of ways we've talked about them, and it's been positive influence throughout and positive climb each and every time. Alex Bregman would be that veteran that you need in the locker room to help you get to the next step. And you've already got a great team. If you can keep the core of what you had and bring in someone like him, you're not disrupting the core that you had built previous to the 2026 season. He's one of the biggest, if not biggest, free agent available at this time, and especially someone that can be cohesive with the talent that you have already established. I say it is a need to sign him. And it looks like you're going to get your wish in this topic as well, because they're pretty close. The reports are they're predicted to sign him, and that was as late as two days ago.
It's good to see that the team is going in the right. Like I said, I've always had faith in the VCU alum. My man Jerry, out there doing his thing at GM for Seattle. I always hate saying his last name. It's like DeVito. I just hate saying it. That's why I just call him Jerry. But the VCU alum has done really good things out there. And you, like you said, we've seen the slow climb of this team. Like, they're knocking on the door. They're there, but they're not there yet. We can't be like the Dodgers and have Ohtani take a Bobby Bonilla deal where he getting $1 million a year, and then he get like this sexy lump sum at the end of his contract. Like, he don't get that money until like 2042 or something like that. But hey, it's working. They're able to go sign everybody else because Ohtani's like, I'm cool with it. What? Bro, how's that even okay? But that's besides the point. But I like if they can make it happen, I would like the move. And I think that with guys, they brought Naylor back in. I think they got to see if they can try to bring Suarez back in. I don't know if they're going to be able to do all of that, but bringing Naylor back was huge to go along with Cal and give you a nice 3, 4, 5 hitter, and then you got my man Randy, I say his name wrong, but Randy A. Look, Randy A. at the top. Arm, I always say his name jacked up, but they've got good pieces. So, and the
Suarez plays third base, though, right?
Suarez plays third base. So
Bregman's third base.
Yeah, so that's they're not going to go.
They're not going to pay Bregman $150 million and then try to keep
Suarez. Yeah,
Suarez had some good moments throughout, but there were some moments where he was cold when you really needed him to step up too.
He hit the big home run, but that was about it, though.
Yeah,
he hit the big home run. That was about it.
He wasn't consistent, and it was making others. Which Cal had some good moments too, but he started off the playoffs a little cold. Cal did,
and
he got alive more towards late in the division and then into the championship series. And Cal was one of the bright spots towards the end when they weren't going to win it. And gave us it was still a great series to watch. I mean, You know, that, in my opinion, in comparison to what we got for the World Series, we watched the World Series when we saw the Blue Jays and the Mariners.
Man, I wanted the Blue Jays to win that game so bad. That last play when they touched the plate, I think his foot might have been, but we're not gonna get into that because that's the Dodgers are the Dodgers, man. And then Jesus Christ, that's all I got on that. The Dodgers are the Dodgers, man. Somebody got to beat them.
It was, and we saw like 18-inning game, all sorts of stuff. Like we had, there's the playoffs were insane. In the Blue Jays, even if they don't bring back Bo Bichette, I think are still going to be a team to watch next year because Bo Bichette's contract ended, and I haven't really kept tabs with that, so I don't know if he's re-signed or has gone somewhere else. But as far as Bregman, I can at least say with confidence, if you sign him within the next day or two, like reports are looking at, they could be happening before the end of this week. If that happens, I don't think you bring Suarez back.
Yeah, you can't, because Suarez is going to demand big time. Like Suarez had 50 home runs last year.
Yeah,
so he's gonna get some big money from somebody. And if we can get a cheaper option in the 10-year vet, I'll take it. You're not going to go wrong there. So
yeah, and he's proven too.
Yep.
So even if this is the year that you mainly go for it, his age 32 year.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at that point, 2026, you have a better chance with the consistency of Alex Bregman, who showed up in big moments before.
Right.
You can do it this year with the team. Like you're talking about the majority of the team still coming back.
Yep.
One of your biggest holes that you have to fill currently is third base in the corner of the infield. So you do that. You still got all your other stars. You're looking pretty good as long as everybody stays healthy. And that's usually year two of a really good team when you get that far, like in football, like with what I'm wearing here. Year two of a successful team is usually the most telling because it's injuries and everything else that play a part in it. And if you have a team with depth around you, which the Mariners, for as small market of a team they are, have a pretty decent team in depth in pitching and with fielding and offense. So all around offense and defense, you've got a really, really good future with what you've built in the farm system, which goes with what I was talking about earlier, where it's different in baseball, where you're in the NFL or you're NBA, even though there is a G League in the NBA, it's not the same as the farm system in baseball. Mm-hmm. You have more time to develop in baseball because kids are coming out earlier and younger, right out of high school, a lot of cases. Some of them do play a little college, but in most cases, they're developing through the farm system. And you might not start in the major leagues where you started when you were first drafted. You could be traded around a few times.
Yep.
So players like Cal Raleigh and others who have developed within your farm system to get to the point to where they're at, you have a lot of those talents within your team. It reminds me very similar to in Rodriguez and everything. It reminds me similar of what the Tampa Bay Rays had built before they had disassembled when they got to their successful point about a half decade ago or so, or about 10 years ago when we saw that stretch. You have a similar team to that, in my opinion, with what you've developed in the farm system. So you bring in somebody like Bregman and you have some other veteran pieces in there already. Sky's the limit for you, my man. And I hope in 2026,
I'm hoping, man,
we can see something special with you guys and at least make it to the World Series. Just make it.
Let's just get the monkey off our back, man. I just want to get into the World Series so they can stop saying y'all the only team that never been. Just get me there. We'll figure it out from there. Figure it out from there.
Six says Bregman is 31 years old. He's a veteran and still has plenty to contribute to any ball club. You are absolutely right.
Most definitely.
With all that being said, we still have two more topics to go, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back here in just a little over 2 minutes after we look at shenanigans here on A Reel.
Hey, what's good, everybody? This is your boy Corey, host of The Grind, where we talk about all things WWE. You can catch The Grind every single Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on Sertoba Media. If you're not following Sertoba Media, then what are you doing? Like, share, subscribe. There are many different things that we have available on Sertoba Media for your viewing pleasure. And what else you got to do on a Saturday afternoon? Come spend some time with me. Come spend some time with my colleagues on this platform. Help us be able to bring everything that you all want to see. Matter of fact, you know what? if you ain't did it yet, I got something for you. Stay true to what you do. Stay true to why you do, and always stay true to you.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie Bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. Hey, $ DWillie87. Go ahead, hit him up on the Cash App, and go ahead and give him some Willie Bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie Bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. How about some Willie Bucks?
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Do you like talking sports? Do you like entertainment? Do you like the occasional series of heated discussions?
Are you in and out, Drew?
With that said,
Drew, Drew, I'm hearing a bunch of stuff in your mind. I know you know this team very well. Are you in and out, my friend?
Then you must see this. Drew Willingham versus random panelists. Who wins? You decide on the In or Out Sports Debate. Live. Whenever the we feel like it. Eastern Standard Time. Exclusively on Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
welcome back to the In or Out Sports Debate, episode 128. We're back from that one and only commercial breaks. We still have 2 more rounds to get to. Some professional wrestling, a little bit of the W, and much more here for episode 128. Let's see what we got in store for round 4.
Round 4.
It's time to talk about John Cena. You can see him right here, but you can't see him for much longer. When it comes to that, Drew McIntyre should have participated in John Cena's The Last Time Is Now tournament. Fresh off that loss from Dirty Dom in the background. How do you feel about this one there, Darrell? Are you in or are you out on this one?
First of all, Dom, you're the luckiest man in the world. Just want to throw that in there real quick. I am 100% in on this. Why can't we all be Dom Mysterio? I just
3 wives.
I mean, 3 wives. You got a boo. You got 4. I mean, you got Roxanne Perez.
Oh yeah.
You had Rhea Ripley. You got your actual wife who's at home. And shout out to her. She's an extremely strong woman. I mean, I was watching Raw last night. I'm like, she can't be okay with this, right? Like, I know my wife would have been like, "No, sirree." I just want to give Dom a shout out, man.
She must travel the road with him.
She has to.
She has to be backstage.
She's keeping tabs on all that. There's no way that man is getting as much play or not play, even if it's fake play. Ain't no way. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We'll say this. So I'm definitely in on this because I felt this, to me, I feel like this tournament, the whole John Cena experience as a whole has been done. There's some good parts, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this was done wrong all the way through. And this tournament is a great idea, but I just don't think they had the right people in this tournament. You're missing out. Randy Orton should be in this tournament. The Drew McIntyre should be in this tournament. CM Punk should be in this tournament. Now, I do appreciate the fact that they was like, okay, we're going to give them single, storylines, and they still face, like, he faced Orton back in May. That feels like, or April, that feels like forever ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about one of his biggest rivals, and he faced him months ago, and we haven't, and nothing.
And he faced him when he was rated R John Cena, John Cena.
John Cena. Yes, and we're talking about it was so long ago, and that I think that Drew would have benefited big time. And I said this a while ago, on our wrestling pod. I was just like, look, Drew McIntyre is the person that should win this because he's perfect. Like, to me, he's the top. him and Dom are like right there. Dom's on the verge of being probably the top heel, but like if you had to say who's the top heel, it has to be Drew McIntyre. He does everything beautifully. He would have been perfect for this tournament. You know, Gunther, he's good, but he ain't Drew McIntyre. McIntyre can do a little bit. He could be a face, he could be a heel, but he just does everything beautifully. I would have rather had seen him in the tournament, but I'll say this real quick, and I'll go to let you roll with it. But this whole John Cena thing has just been done miserably. The heel turn was not a bad idea. The problem is you said, no, we're not going to give you no new music. What? That's what everybody was hyped for. Everybody was hyped. At least they thought at the minimum we getting basic thugonomics back.
Yes.
That was at the minimum. We had to thank God CM Punk decided to come out here and be fake John Cena and do a little rap just so we could hear it once during this retirement. How does that make any sense that you don't come into the person that made you who you are today? Thugonomics John Cena is the reason why John Cena is John Cena. Yes. He had to be him in order for him to get to where he is now. And so for me, I felt like that was done poorly. And then he just didn't, like, if you're going to be a heel, make me believe it. The work on the mic, I didn't think the work on the mic was bad. But if you're a heel, you know, when are you attacking people backstage? When are you plotting? Like, it just didn't feel heelish enough. And they tried to like push it on us, and then they had to backtrack and then went to good Cena, and all was well. Fans were cheering. They would have cheered him one way or the other because it's John Cena, and this is the end of times for John Cena. But they did this so wrong, and it would have been so much better, in my opinion, to have all of those titans. And then maybe you mix a few people in there that you want to see grow. I'm not saying that, you know, maybe somebody like Carmelo Hayes or whoever they had, Joe Hendry, whoever they would have put in there to win the tournament. And, you know, because in this situation, if you're Cena, you want to propel the next person into stratosphere. That's what the wrestling business has always been about. When you're retiring, in most cases, you're sending that next person, you know, whoever you lose to the next step. It's a tradition. And I just think the tournament could have been so much greater if you got Punk, if you got Drew, if you got all those guys. And obviously Edge would have been the one-on-ones, but we know we're not gonna we're not gonna get that lucky, I don't think. And so with all that being said, Drew would have been perfect for this tournament. And I would have loved to have seen him in it. Drew McIntyre is a masterpiece. I love everything Drew McIntyre's got going on, man. It's great. It's great.
Or where we disagreed on the topics the first two rounds. Now for the back-to-back rounds, we agree. We're in. The biggest part that really grinds my gears is the fact the Miz was in the tournament twice.
Twice.
Why? Because Penta and Sheamus storyline injuries, they could not wrestle each other, so they were both. He was the substitute in place of that first match. That first round match we never got. So the Miz, when what's his name, Adam Pearce is doing the lottery thing again and spinning the wheel last week on Raw. For that, he was standing there and Pierce gets distracted by it. I forget who it was that came in and talked to him.
I think it was R-Truth.
And the ball was open. It was R-Truth. It was R-Truth. And when the ball was open, he was opening it in the moment before R-Truth came in, and Miz picked up the paper and put the other one in, and somehow Pierce just went with it. And even though it's recorded, it's on TV. In the NFL, we have instant replay in other spots. I don't like how corny that was written, because where you brought in a surprise entrant, whether it had been Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler like you did in the beginning, you could have, even though there's been talks about Jericho coming in, you could, or even if you would have worked in an NXT talent, I would have been happy with that, because it's all about putting over the next generation, which, yes, this would have been a great opportunity for either Dom, but he got it with the Intercontinental Championship match. Then you get, like we're talking about Drew right now, this has been perfect for him. Perfect. Or especially to work his way in there. But because of the storyline suspension and everything going into War Games with him being suspended on SmackDown, it made it difficult, because he was technically outside of War Games, he was suspended. So that's their argument if you were to bring this up as far as challenging creative, I feel like. However, if you even didn't write all that chaos in there to what he was doing and just had him part of the tournament. You can still have him as a heelish character in the tournament, get to either the semifinals or the finals if you didn't want him to get there and really wanted LA Knight or Gunther to get there, because that's who we have in the finals on SmackDown this week to face John Cena in his final match. And when it comes to LA Knight, he needed this type of push 2 years ago when he was white hot. When he was white hot 2 years ago, yeah, that would have been perfect for him if whether it was Cena or somebody of similar stature retiring, and it was something like this, which we've never seen anything like this before. So the concept of the Last Time Is Now tournament, I'm not mad at. I liked it at the beginning when before we knew who all was participating in it. When Ziggler and Ryder came back as themselves, that was cool. That was cool. I like that. But the Miz coming in twice, on top of what you had talked about with your take, where the heel turn at first was cool. Like, I liked it. And the promos that came after that, it was once we saw that it was a one-off with The Rock and the longest intro of all time with Travis Scott, how that happened at WrestleMania. Like, Elimination Chamber, probably best pay-per-view PLE of the year, in my opinion. As far as the hype and everything, that when that one ended, we wanted so much more because of how it ended. It was they ended it at the perfect moment. Like that was like WrestleMania for the year, right? Because then we get to WrestleMania and Travis Scott with that 17-minute entrance, and you don't even have The Rock. I feel like his entrance was as long as it was because he had to take up the time that The Rock would have been in there doing something. So he was taking up already pre-planned time. The only other person to have that long of an interest is The Undertaker, and that's okay because it's his character.
That's The Undertaker, yeah.
Travis Scott, like that, once he came out and you look back at that intro, him coming down to interfere in that match, that was the beginning of the end of what our John Cena heel turn was. Because even though when we had the Elimination Chamber, we had the promos after it, I was excited for WrestleMania. I really was. And then we got let down. And then John Cena had some decent promo work afterwards. And then, of course, we got the CM Punk, Dr. Thugonomics, like, turn back with that throwback, whatever you want to call it. Like, that was cool. But after that, we already knew going into SummerSlam, it was ending. There was no way that the story was going to continue of him ruining wrestling. And it was like the SmackDown before him and Cody show up on SmackDown, have a beer, and forget all the past 5 months that just happened. How it had so much promise, and they let us down so bad with that run.
It was so frustrating.
And when
how are you going to ruin wrestling? They just abandoned the storyline.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And when the Last Time Is Now tournament was announced, I was like, okay, this is a way you can salvage pretty bad creative for this story, or for how it's played out for him this year, right? The original concept probably looked good, but I think the original concept involved The Rock being more involved than what he was beyond the Elimination Chamber. Even if he was only involved with WrestleMania or right afterwards up until Money in the Bank or something, even if it was through pre-recorded segments that they could have done on a Tuesday in front of a green screen. Okay. They could have made it happen. If John Cena's doing all this acting, it was Dwayne, in my opinion, and I'll say it even though I'm a huge fan of The Rock from back in the day, Attitude Era. Like, I'm saying this as a person, and following through on your commitment. I feel like we'll find out more of it one day. It may be unreal, maybe this next season, because we're going to probably see after WrestleMania up into the end of John Cena. I feel like that's going to be the story for the next season. Because, I mean, what else would it be? But this has been the most interesting thing we want to see behind the scenes of, was this really how it was planned to go, or was there differences behind it? And I think The Rock was supposed to be more involved in it. He's already part of the board, but with all of his promotional work with the Mark Kerr movie, Smash Machine, and all the different things that he had going on, he probably bit off more than he could chew, and he couldn't fulfill the obligation. I think we're going to find out something along that. They're going to tell us in a way that doesn't throw shade on The Rock, because they, of course, have a good relationship and they're going to work together in Hollywood. But the way this whole storyline unfolded, it feels like there was supposed to be more to it. Like, because you had to fill in those gaps where he's not on TV, but he's still the champion.
Right.
And it was very Roman Reigns-esque, except for we had more layers to that with the bloodline to help keep it going throughout the weeks. That made it more relevant as to where John Cena's, we didn't have that. And you could have salvaged that when we got to the tournament, where if Drew McIntyre was in there, and even if it was Penta that got hurt, who was opponent, or Sheamus, one of the two, with Sheamus would have been a good opening round match for him instead of Penta. If he would have been injured based on the match that happened the previous week, which was the case, you get the bye to go to the next round. That's what happened to Solo Sikoa.
Yeah.
So looking at it for what it is, bad booking, because Drew McIntyre should have been in this. You could have salvaged the entire year, which in their mind, they probably think they're going to, with whether it's LA Knight or Gunta. But it's been rumored for several months now that his last match was going to be against Gunta anyway.
Yeah.
So I will not be surprised if he wins Friday, because since he lost his championship to CM Punk at SummerSlam, and then the whole ruse of the century with Seth Rollins came out, where he puts the crutches down and comes down and cashes in and beats Punk.
Insane.
Gunta's been kind of quiet. So this could help revamp his 2026. But if LA Knight doesn't win a World Heavyweight Championship in 2026, whether it be the Raw Championship or the WWE Championship, he's not going to win it beyond 2026, because his white hot situation, I feel like, even though it's rumored that Gunta is going to face him, I think LA Knight really needs this if Drew McIntyre is not going to be in the tournament, because they've been playing it off as whoever wins this tournament is literally got the momentum going into 2026.
Yeah.
I feel like he wins this, he should win the Rumble, and then we have our next big moment.
See, and so there's two things with this. If he wins, if LA Knight wins, there's a part of me that thinks he should go heel. Because heel LA Knight from back in the TNA days, my man Eric talked about Eli Drake. If you get that LA Knight leading towards WrestleMania, it's going to be pure entertainment. And it's just going to be pure entertainment leading all the way up. In the NFL, the WWE fans haven't been truly introduced to what the greatness of Eli Drake was and what that could be. And they bring the dummy button back and all that fun stuff. It could be cool. I don't know which way they go with this. And I mean, obviously everybody's saying Gunther, but it just could have been done differently. The Rumble for this year is going to be wide open. Like, there's like 4 or 5 people in my head that say, okay, I can see them winning it and it would make sense. I can see this person winning and it can make sense. There's a couple in my mind that I'm like, okay, one of these people have to win it. So we'll see. WrestleMania season technically is upon us. And we're gonna find out here in the next couple of months. So
one thing's for sure, December 13th, no matter if it's Gunta or LA Knight, even though it starts with this letter for his name, John Cena's gonna take the
yeah. That's right. It's time.
That's our guy right there. Because you were amongst myself in 2023 saying it's time. LA Knight needs to push.
It's time. It's way past the time. If you're going to do it, you got to do it now.
So, and this could propel him to. I feel like he should be next to win the Royal Rumble, because even though Dom's climbing the ladder right now, you still need to get more out of this double championship in this situation with the Judgment Day, where that could pull apart at any moment.
Right
now that Liv's back into the mix, so it's gonna be an interesting 2026. It potentially, because they've dropped the ball on some things creatively as a whole.
It's been a rough year for WWE. It's been a rough year. All this talent, and it's been a really rough year. It's insane how they've fumbled the ball.
Now you got to write an AJ Styles retirement tour next year. So there's a whole lot that comes with that now that John Cena set the bar for retirement.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that actually makes a really good point, Drew, because he's doing something that's never been done. And so now how many superstars, like I expect a Orton. I expect the Orton one now. You can't tell me Orton doesn't get a retirement tour. This is Randy freaking Orton.
But he can't do it this year because AJ Styles already announced it before he could. So
he's got to wait to 2027.
Yeah, and I think he could win another world championship or two at least, because he's at 14. He's tied with Triple H. He technically could still contend for John Cena's 17. He's the only one that's close to it. I think Roman has 10, I think.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere around that is 10. It's not even any more than that. CM Punk's definitely not going to beat it. So the only other person that could do it would be Randy. And I think Cena would be okay with if Randy did it, because Randy's been in the WWE this entire time. There's a lot more we could say for that, but Randy doesn't look like that he needs to retire anytime soon. Neither does AJ Styles or John Cena, but they're doing it at the right times. But I think that AJ Styles they're not necessarily going to do it the same way that Cena did. They're going to have a farewell tour, but I think maybe, and a lot of people are saying it too, like Cena's so close to Royal Rumble season and WrestleMania already with the way he's retiring. It's only 2 months out, like 2.5, 3 months out from where you're retiring now. I think Styles or either Randy, because Randy's had so many WrestleMania moments. I think whether it's 16 or 17, or if he does go for 18, Randy's going to retire at WrestleMania. And whether it's AJ Styles or Randy, because Cena didn't do it, one of those two is going to retire as the heavyweight champion. That's my prediction. I think it's Randy that does it. I think Randy will either tie Cena or tie Flair, or potentially, it's a long shot, get to 18, but she'd have to win 4 more championships to do that.
You got to catch
and that's
fire.
A stretch. That's a stretch. But he could win 2 more, Darrell, in the next 2 years. He could, if they do it the right way. He could. So if he does and ties Flair, I feel like it'd be a pretty cool moment, whether he's defending or winning his 16th championship and then says, this is my last match, and retires on Raw. And somebody does it that way, because then you're going out at the Super Bowl of PLEs.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it'll be a fun ride. Next year will be interesting, but they got to bounce back, because this 2025 has been, I don't want to say dookie water, but it's been a lot of mistakes along the way.
At least it's not like 2015, 2016.
No, nothing's that bad.
Those were the times. Yeah,
nothing's that bad.
People have been crying about certain things about this year, like, and you have a legitimate argument. I do too, but there's been people that have been absolute snowflakes out here about it. And you and I, who have been loyal wrestling fans, because you and I, when we first met, we were talking about wrestling, and wrestling absolutely sucked at that time until we got AEW, and you and I were at the first show. So we always have that talk about. You and I were at the first Dynamite. So looking back at that, we've been through where we've had to look at TNA consistently, even though people still do it now. But back before their partnership with WWE, we've had to look TNA. And then, of course, when AEW was white hot when it first came out, we've had to look at alternatives, because WWE just got to a pretty bad point.
It was ugly, man.
And
it was ugly.
We got to where we did a few years ago when we had the balance shift, and WWE was cool to watch again, even though you and I never stopped. Maybe not watching every single week, but we kept up with it.
Yeah, we still kept track.
And all these wannabes coming out from the woodworks talking about, oh, it's so cool. And then they act like it just is the worst now. No, it's not the worst, because you weren't watching it when it was at its worst.
And it was some ugly times, boy. Some of these fans don't understand what the ugly times were like.
And 1995 was still tough too. Like when you look at that, era, Doink the Clown, and all those characters that were. It was like every single wrestler was a character of some sort.
Was a gimmick. Yeah, you had the Atom Bomb. Atom Bomb,
and all of them.
My guy Repo Man,
Dumpster, whatever his name was.
Doozy Dumpster. Something.
Duke the Dumpster Drozy or
there
something like
that. Go.
Like,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
My man
call him Duke Drozy Dumpster or something.
Dumpster fire. I think my guy Repo Man, low key though, Repo Man theme music was fire. So Repo Man was in there. Doink. But bad Doink was the
Evil
one.
Doink.
Evil Doink was my dude though, low key, because he come out there. I was like, this is cool.
Evil Doink is actually in 2K25 as part of the My Rise story.
I have
So
to check that out.
you got to check it out because that's the one thing when we were talking about pre-show where I've only played it like 4 times. I've mainly just played WWE and played the My Rise, and I'll go hard on it because I used to play it back in the day, so I can go through it pretty fast. And I got to a storyline where Evil Doink is like interfering in a match between you and Damian Priest, and I just remember that because the Evil Doink music came on. I was like, wow, they found a way to bring it in.
I'm like, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, Evil Doink, that was fire. So I'm not even mad at that. That's pretty cool.
6 says that wrestling has its highs and lows. It absolutely does, and it has. To get to the high points, you got to have some low points. To appreciate what you miss, especially with this was the closest we had before this year. The past couple of years is the closest we had since the Attitude Era, as far as really exciting week in, week out TV shows on top of PLEs. So he also says, I'm in. Drew McIntyre needs to either take part and be in a new angle or just go home and come back for another storyline next year.
I don't know. I think that's the thing, man. I thought that like when Drew took on Cody the last time that they should have let Drew win that match. Yes. I really do think Drew would have been a great champion leading up into even if they took it from him at Mania, he would have been perfect to be the champion leading up into WrestleMania. He's just that good, you know. And he's got multiple people that could have, you know, it could have been CM Punk, it could have been Cody, it could have been, he's got beef with Damian Priest, he's got beef with everybody. That's just Drew McIntyre is. LA Knight. I mean, they could have went so many different ways with it, but well.
And if you were dressed all the time, you'd probably be upset too. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's something about the kilt, man. You need to retire that, throw on some pants, chill out. You know, you literally are chilling out. If you're wearing that dress in 20-degree weather, you literally are chilling. Like,
bring Shattered Dreams back, baby. We know what time it is. Bring Shattered Dreams back. Let's go.
6 says, I remember in 95, 96, so you're with us in the time era that we were talking about just a minute ago. There was also TL Hopper the Plumber with the plunger. How about the hockey gimmick, the Goon? That actually reminds me. I got VHS tapes that probably should never surface the internet. That I participated in backyard wrestling back in the day when I was a teenager, and it reminds me. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember the plumber that he's talking about in the mid-90s. Where he says TL Hopper the Plumber. My name was Plumber D, and I showed up with the plunger, and I was beating up my opponents with the plunger. And like I even just to make it funny, I pulled down like the shorts a little bit, just enough to you see like Chris Farley crack or whatever. So
that's crazy.
It's like
Drew.
I was doing ninja rolls as a plumber with a plunger. Yes, I'll go with descriptiveness, but I think I'm going to save the VHS tapes for my own personal viewing.
Keep them hidden, brother. Keep them hidden, brother. Don't let them things see the light of day, bro. Don't let them see the light of day.
I know it. And the funny thing is I have this software to convert it over. That will be part of the mix that is not.
Oh my God.
Over. But I do have some great stuff on VHS, man. That's what started this whole thing with me getting involved with videos.
That's so funny.
And learning editing content.
It's like, here we go. Forgot about the old
ask me what I did with the Geo Metro.
Right. Oh no.
Drew McIntyre isn't as bad as Perry Saturn in Drag in 97.
Hey man, Perry Saturn was going through tough times. They put my man through the ringer. It was bad. I remember
97 probably is why we got Moppy in 2002.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's
Moppy
when he did
with
that
the
Moppy. Oh my God, poor Perry. Perry Saturn. Look, besides
he's
all
had
the
it rough.
He's had it rough, but besides all the gimmick, Perry Saturn was really good in the ring.
Yes,
but they just
like Chris Benoit good.
Yeah, he was Chris Benoit good. Remember the Radicals?
That's they were all there. They were together,
all
but they probably headbutted each other too much in the locker room, which would affected both of them later on. Luckily, Perry Saturn's still with us, I believe. He just had a really rough go about it on the streets and other activities. But with the discussions with CTE, real quick before we go to the last round. It affected Chris Benoit to where it happened there, which is no excuse for that.
Right.
But they took a lot of chair shots back then. And if they did get roided up and headbutt each other in the locker room, which happened in football with the helmets, but I mean, with your wrestlers and you're mixing other things, maybe you're pretending you have a helmet on. I don't know. But it's just ironic that they come from the same era. They were part of the same stable. And the only person that's alive is Dean Malenko, and he's got, I think it's Parkinson's or some type of disease that affects his motor skills.
Yeah.
It's Parkinson's or something. And for the age that he got it, it was like early onset, and I forget. But the article I was reading around it basically argued that the bumps that he took in the wrestling ring, whether it be chair shots, whatever, even though he was more technical than the others, he had more technical style matches. They were arguing that his lifestyle within the wrestling elevated and escalated to the point to where it was early onset Parkinson's, because he was like in his 60s when he got it, when he first started showing signs of it.
Yeah, people don't realize, like, these wrestlers, and that's why you got to give a shout out to anybody who's willing to be out there and grind, because they take a beating. They take a beating for our entertainment, man. Like, I'll never, not appreciate them for making me smile since I was 6, 7 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a tough business. It's a tough business.
Said life's a drag. That was Perry Saturn's motto in WCW 97. The moppy angle was punishment for what Saturn did to a jobber in 2000 to 2001 on their secondary show Metal. I remember WWF Metal.
Yeah, they did my boy dirty, man.
Dean Malenko has Parkinson's disease. Also, Raven has recently diagnosed with it as well. I did not know that.
Man, it's crazy, man.
Raven was at the show I went to in Philly a couple of years ago when I met Lance. After I did Kayfabe Express, and then I had Lance Anawayi, part of the Bloodline, on there, and I went to go see him. Raven was at that event because there was a lot of ECW alum, like the Sandman. So it was in the ECW arena over there in Philly where that match, where the venue was, and they have really redone it well. I got a bunch of pictures and stuff. Like in the men's bathroom, all of the wrestlers that have ever wrestled there have signed at the Hardy Boys when they've had WWE events. I don't know if I ever showed you the pictures, but I got to show you those. Like, it's the only time I didn't take selfies. I just took pictures of the actual autographs and the logo and everything for the ECW arena, and then all the autographs. It's the only time I've ever taken like pictures in a public bathroom like that. Especially like I took like 20 of them, bro. Like, yeah, you gotta remind me.
Cool though.
It was very cool. Like all the wrestlers, Eddie Guerrero, all of them that ever wrestled there in the 90s and then the 2000s when they had the one night stand show. The one night stand show was in that arena too. Yep. So, and a lot of indies hold their big events there. So yeah, when I was there, Raven was there, and you had to pay like, I think it was like $75 to get a picture with him. I was like, dude, I'm not paying $75 to do that. But he's a good dude overall as far as what he did for the business. I just couldn't afford the 75.
Yeah, it was tough. I remember $1 Million Man charged me 20. And I was like, it hurt my feelings to do that 20, but $1 Million Man in my top 5, so I said, I'm going to go ahead and pay it. I was like, go ahead and pay it.
With all that being said, keep those comments coming, because we do have one more round to get to. We got to talk a little bit more NFL action. See you here for the final round.
Final round.
Regardless, if he's healthy enough to return soon, the Washington Commanders should sit quarterback Jayden Daniels for the rest of the season. Now, Darrell, I understand that there's certain elements of this question you may or may not be able to elaborate on it, like myself can. But for you, I get it. You still can answer if you're in or out. Let the people know which one you are.
Well, I'm in on this. Now, personally, this is just me personally. Look, this team has fought hard this year, despite everything. It's been a really rough year for Commanders fans. But I said at the beginning of the season, 10-7 was a ceiling, because they had like, you got to remember, a lot of overachieving last year with a last place schedule, and they worked the magic with it. This year, a little bit of a tougher schedule. They had 8 playoff teams. Well, technically 7. They had to face Philly twice, but they had to deal with 8 playoff matches per se throughout the season. So I knew it was going to be tough, but having the injuries on top of it don't help, And so for me, I know Jayden wants to play, and I know that he wants to be out there. There's talk that there's a strong chance he plays this weekend. He's leaning towards that direction. We really won't know till either tomorrow or Friday, because they got to see if they're going to allow him to do some contact. He's been out there practicing for the last couple of weeks. He's throwing the football. He looks fine. If you look just on the eye test, he looks fine. I personally wouldn't do it. I think you're 3-9. The only real thing you're playing for right now, in my opinion, is to get yourself set up for next season. You want people to say, look, when this team is healthy, look how good they are. Last night, Sunday night, we got a little example of that. Yes, shout out to Marcus Mariota. A little bit of some tough throws there. So some of them was unnecessary throws. I was in the end zone when he threw that first one. I'm like, bro, why did you throw that football? And it was two Broncos there. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. Who was it? It was Chris Rodriguez, I believe. But he was out of bounds. And when he was trying to throw it, he says in the press conference he was trying to throw it out of bounds. But anyway, that's besides the point. I feel like you can still win games this year with Marcus Mariota at quarterback and not put Jayden in danger. Even though it's been weird, hamstring injury, knee injury, and now the elbow thing. Look, 3 is enough. You know what I'm saying? 3 is enough. It's okay to wait for next season. When I looked at the schedule for next year, based off of what the way things are going now, they got the AFC South. And they have the NFC West. So you got the team that's going to have another 3 playoff teams in there, a potential 2 playoff teams in the South with the Jaguars and the Colts, and maybe even the Texans because they're fighting. So that division, even though it's a better division than it's been in the past, I still don't trust that division. To me, that's more of a winnable division that faced this year instead of the NFC North, who had 3 teams in the playoffs last year that all had 10 or 11 plus wins. Then, and then of course facing the AFC West that had the defending champion and also had 3 playoff teams. I just think that you sit JD5 down, let him get fully healthy, knee, hamstring, elbow. You need all those things to maneuver. That's just me. Look, there's the photographer in me. Hell yeah, man, get out there. I need some JD5 pics, But there's a person inside that said, I care about JD5, the person, that I want to see him hot and ready to go next season. For me, I wouldn't put him in that position. If you haven't learned anything from RG3 as an organization, make it look like you can, even if he's fussing, I want to be out there. Hey, guess what? I said you're not playing. And I think a lot of fans would actually respect that. Now, obviously, if you guys were, 7-6, 8-5, 6-7, heck, even, well, no, I'm not gonna say 5-8, but in those, the one game away from it, then that's a different story. You've lost 7 straight games. And I know they want to end it. But just don't risk him being hurt. I know his mom was like, y'all cursing my baby by keep saying the RG3 thing. Well, baby girl, you trying to send him out there to play. Just don't just let him.
He's smaller than RG3.
Yeah. You're right. And that's the thing. He's smaller than the RG3 was. So I just say, and I know I'm going a little long, but just rest him. I'd like to see him play again, but just rest him.
No, that was perfectly said. And even if I wanted to say for the sake of debate, I can't. We're agreeing again. I'm in. A lot of great points. And, as much as I want to see a team that wins,
right.
So I'm a fan of them through and through, which you could easily win these next 5 games, could have 8.
Good.
But that doesn't mean that you're going to you're not going to get the 7 seed.
Yeah.
Based on the teams we talked about earlier and your division that you have going on, and also in the North, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that this team is going to have a shot at the 7, even if they win the next 5. Yeah. It would be entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
It'd be entertaining to watch them do it with Mariota and the backups, but you'd be better off, even though I don't really agree with tanking at this point. You're a team that right now, at this point in the year, you have 3 wins with 5 games left to go.
Right.
I would much rather see you, even though you went 14-3 last year, or no, there was 12-5, but I was still mad. You got 2 wins. So that's why I was thinking of 14, but in the playoffs. But looking at it for what it is, I would say you'd be better off losing these next 5 weeks, finish 3-14. You're not going to get the top pick because look at what the Titans are doing with only 1 win so far this year. No, you're not getting the top pick. And the Giants are giving you a run for the money as well at the bottom of the NFC East. And you got some other teams throughout the NFL that are playing like absolute dumpster Pelicans, Darrell. It is so bad and so tough to watch. But when you have the teams that you have left, you got the Vikings this week, which I feel like you could definitely win if you could.
They can win that game
with the Broncos this past week. Hell, the game, the factor that you came close to the Broncos this week with the team that you had, you literally could win any of these 5 games, especially the way the Eagles have been playing this year, and you got them twice.
Yep.
The Cowboys are so hot and cold, you don't know what you're going to get that week. And the Giants, another team that's had their woes because Scattaboo and Neighbors aren't there, and Dart's had concussion issues and so on. But with the Commanders, of course, like with what you were saying earlier, you want to see a strong finish because you've got people like Von Miller who could have easily retired this past year. And, you finished 3-14. I think he's definitely not coming back with you next year, potentially. If you put up some kind of fight and win at least 2 or 3 of these last 5 games, and it gives you hope to bring in some of those veterans that you signed for 1 year, maybe convince them that, hey, when JD's healthy and we got old Bill back there healthy and running, and if Debo can sign a friendly extension to where he can be out there for an entirety of a year, and because when he's been healthy, he's had some explosive plays out there. He was part of what kept us alive that first month of the season when McLaurin was out, when he was trying to get his legs back under him, and also was hurt a little bit too because he didn't have the time in training camp. So overall, with looking at it, you brought up a lot of very solid points. If you're going to do all this, what I just mentioned, you need to do it without JD. You need to do it with Mariota because you proved that you came close to doing it with the Broncos. And sorry, Mama, when it comes to the JD comparisons, but we all saw how nasty and that injury was for him, and he's lucky it wasn't anything more extensive than what he got, because that looked like the damn thing snapped right off his arm.
It's hard
because he's so small. The force of him going down is why all the force from the defender bringing him down in his weight. He didn't have enough muscle to sustain it, so the force made his elbow bend backwards. That was what I watched when that happened, and it was tough to see it. And part of that is because our offense is depleted. What I think that they should do if they get a top 3, top 5 pick, though, is use it on the defensive side when it comes to the pass rush or the rush in general, run defense. Because since you traded Chase Young and Montez Sweat, the defense has not been as impactful as it was. Yes, Bobby Wagner has been big as far as veteran leadership, and you're hoping that him alongside Von Miller could be some staples to helping the young Bucks come up. But we do not have anybody on that side of the ball that's of the caliber as Chase Young and Montez Sweat, since we just traded them within the past couple of years. You lost them. You lost Cole Holcomb. You lost multiple others that were very big impacts to the rush and the middle of your defense. The middle of your defense to the front, they made the biggest impact. So even though our offensive line has had some struggles, the Commanders invested a lot in free agency when it came to their offensive line with Laramie Tunsil and others this past offseason, that if you have a full team that's healthy, and they're showing that with the backups, they're keeping Marcus Mariota upright for the most part. Jayden Daniels just has a different type of game to where he's dancing to the left, he's dancing to the right. Some things are a little bit more predictable in some cases, and that's where, unfortunately, the injury came into play. But here and now, when it comes to this season, of course, you don't want to tank. You don't want to try to lose. But I feel like if you win the next 2 games, the 2 out of 5, you still have a pretty good chance of the top 5 pick. You don't risk getting JD further injured, and you can easily win 2 of the next 5 with Marcus and others playing and sitting some of your big-time stars while convincing maybe Von Miller to come back for 1 more year when you have the offseason talks saying signing a 1-year deal, unless he's just adamant about retiring. But this team could easily go back to what they were in 2024 if the team was healthy and you had everybody together during training camp and not this whole money BS, because it all started with the Terry McLaurin situation and the contract and the media all around that. Whether they want to admit it or not, it affects the chemistry team when one of your big-time players is not in the locker room until the start of the year. And you can't just reinsert him, even though everything's going to be okay, dapping it up and personally. You're missing out on all that time that you could have practiced to continue to develop on the chemistry you had already established and make it even greater than it was. And because you had that time out, the steps forward you took in 2024, you went 2 steps back. So with all that being said, everybody comes back next year healthy, goes through the training camp processes. They make some additions throughout the draft, which they have a decent amount of picks, again, by the way. And you make some moves in free agency and retain some of the players that made an impact or the ones you had hoped that you brought in, like Von Miller for leadership. I feel like that this team could be back to what it was next year, but not if you finish 8-9, and especially not if you finish 8-9 trying to limp JD out there and risk further injury. Because it's like you said, you would like to have those pictures taken on but you'd like to take those pictures for the next 10, 12 years. And you're not going to get that. You throw them out there.
Yeah, I would hold off on them. I just think that's my biggest thing. Mariota showed me against Denver, well, and other times this year. If he plays consistent, they can win those games. Like Kansas City, he looked good in the first half of Kansas City. It just kind of faded a little late. The only thing he needs to fix, Mariota needs to fix, is he will try to make a play when he doesn't need to try to make a play. And every time he's tried, he's thrown this weird interception. He's like fading away and he's trying to throw it out of bounds instead of just taking sacks. I think if he cleans that up, they got a good chance to, they could, if they wanted, like if they're pushing just to say, hey, look, free agents, look, we're still good, for free agents, because they got a lot of money. And, there's a part of me that doesn't think Bobby Wagner's coming back. I don't even think Von's coming back. I think, you'll have the money to sign new pieces. Those young guys have had a year of being under the Kay Morenos and the Jordan McGee's have been able to study under these Hall of Famers. So that part helps out. I just think if you're Washington, don't press it. You don't have anything to lose here other than potentially losing your star quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years. And you waited so long to finally get him back. So to get one back, and let's just be smart about it. Be smart about it.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do because based on what we saw with the way the team was rebuilt for last year, they're not going to settle for mediocrity, and that means the ownership and the management. So the positive part to all this is even if it is one tough season, I feel like it's going to build a stronger core for these players that are going to be there for the long term, because now JD will have something to look back on as far as a tough season to remind him, maybe I should do this a little bit different, or whether it's the game planning. Because the biggest argument that we had is the time in which JD got hurt, he should have never been in the game. They were already down by a lot of points. And I had reached out to you about it because you were there. Like, looking back on it, like, I remember saying, like, why is he even still in the game? Like, there's no point. The game was over. So we're at that situation now for the rest of the season. The season is over. You're going to do the same mistake again?
And they were still in the mix then, technically, because you still had the Lions game, you still had the Dolphins game, and then you had this game. So you had 3 games, and you weren't completely. I think at the time they were 3-5, maybe 3-6. I think, or they were on the way to 3-6. So you weren't completely out of it, And it's just so weird. I ain't gonna lie, it's still weird to me. They lost 7 straight games. It doesn't even feel like. Even I've been at the games, and it still doesn't feel like it. But it's been tough.
And the reason why I say draft your first pick with defense, because you've given up so many points as you have this year. You've given up 40 points multiple times. You did it to the Lions, who beat you 44-22. You did it to the Cowboys, who beat you 44-22 as well. And I mean, well, that's just you scored 41 points against the Raiders, but I mean, a lot of people have. But I mean, other way, the Falcons scored 34 and the Seahawks scored 38. They were close. You got 2 other teams that almost eclipsed the 40-yard mark against you. The defense is what you really need to address, and then keep your offense healthy and retain those offensive players, because there's a lot of promise we've seen and a lot of flashes we've seen, even with JD out. But McLaurin hasn't been in there. He's been in and out. Same thing with Debo. The running game hasn't been consistent since Austin Eckler went out with the ACL. And then Bill hasn't been in there consistently. McNichols has done okay, but McNichols was not the number 1. So, a lot of question marks this offseason. But
I think the biggest thing, defensively that they can do in the offseason is find the right defensive coordinator. Because, like Dan's already said, he's not calling the play. He doesn't plan on calling plays forever, but they have played better. In the 2 games that he's called, that defense looks completely different. I'm like, so where is it? Where is it?
He only gave up 16 points to the Dolphins the week before, and then the game was close against the Broncos. It's more like a shootout watching the Broncos, and that's acceptable when it's not 44 points you're giving up.
Yeah, that's true.
So
we'll see.
I'm with you on that. As he says, I understand that it's his non-throwing arm that's the problem, but he should stay on the injury list. He's not 100%, and his longevity should be prioritized. Let Mariota hold down and handle things. So just like we were saying. So Sick is agreeing with this. It says, Jayden, stay seated. You're not clear, and the team isn't going to risk it. Hold down the fort and handle things. Yeah, as I was reading it, it kind of felt a little wonky, but I forgive you, Sick Diggy. Just like Ron Burgundy, though, I'm just going to read what's in the teleprompter. You already know how it is. But now that we've gone through the final round, we got to do one more thing before we get to the final word, and that's acknowledge the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
As we acknowledge it, we got to acknowledge the fact that Darrell is now a 9-time Vault of Fame inductee with episode 128 of the In or Out Sports Debate. Locked in the vault with all the other gems in here, including his 8 other times that he was here before tonight. Now, a 9-time Vault of Fame inductee, a much better 9 than J.J. McCarthy and his alter ego of 9.
Man, it's an honor. We one away from double digits, so that's it's a process. It's a process.
With the belt too.
Another
legendary picture. You are the only one that has a picture like that with the
Big
Sartoga
Red,
Media Championship.
Big Red, Big Red. Oh, Big Red boy, yes sir.
Gotta love Big Red. Always a pleasure to do it here. Just like it's always a pleasure to look back on those times that led up to now.
Acknowledge me.
I want to take this time to kind of shout you out, Drew. You have taken a concept and made it into a whirlwind of fun for a lot of people. I know for myself. Dude, I am proud of you, man. I want you to continue to do what you're doing. But the concept that you came up with, how much you put into it, how much you've changed it, how much you add to it, the work shows, man. So kudos to yourself. Round of applause for you, man. And just wanted to say thank you for having me on again. It was a lot of fun. Look forward to the next one.
Shout out to Drew for letting me come on the show. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, didn't know what to expect coming into this, and I am super happy that I agreed to come on to this because it was a blast, well-produced show. Honestly, extremely impressed by all the effort you put into this show, Drew. Thank you for having me on, and I look forward to coming back on in the future.
Man, you took me back. This is why this show was so important, and this is why I am personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Out Sports Debate with my man Drew Willingham, because this has got to be one of the most fun things I've ever done in a long time.
And now that the leaderboard is updated, Darrell is now tied with Corey Mann for 4th place on the Vault of Fame leaderboard, 9 times, 1 away from double digits. 2026, here we come.
Just one. We're gonna try to crank it up a little bit next year. Probably get a 3 to 4 in there. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna try to. I don't know if we're gonna make a pitch for the top because there's a little ways to go, but definitely get into double digits. Gonna make a little leeway. We're gonna see how it goes.
My man, that's what I'm talking about. We at least got to get there. We got at least got to make 10 happen. With all that being said, we got one more thing left to do. Let's take it on into the final word. When it comes to episode 128, everything we've talked about, just anything else in sports or life in general, entertainment, professional wrestling could be on your mind too. What's on your mind there for the final word there, brother?
Man, holiday season is popping up, y'all. I mean, look,
Little Debbie's.
Hello, hey, go get your Christmas cakes right now. Look, first of all, like I said, holiday season coming, sexiest month of the year. I'm very excited. Man, your boy turning 41 in 2 weeks, man. I don't know where the time is going. I couldn't even tell you, but with all that being said, it's always an honor to come on the show, man. It's always fun coming on. We always have a good time. I really appreciate, being on and just, embracing the moments, and it's just always a lot of fun. And we can crack up. We probably could talk for another 4 hours if we wanted to, but then me and you'll both be asleep by midnight. But no, but I just want to, continue to give you praise, man. Great work, keep killing it. And for me, I just want to see. I'm just very intrigued to see these last final weeks of the NFL season. I want to see how that kind of plays out. I'm hoping no Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. I want to see a unique Super Bowl for Super Bowl number 60. So other than that, I'm just excited to sit back, watch some football, and continue to just keep on living. Just keep on living, brother. Just keep on living.
Well, I appreciate the love right there, at the end there, because it's those of you out there that keep coming back, the ones that have come through several times that make this what it is. Everybody who's been here just the one time, of course, had a hand in it, but without everybody else's participation, we would not be at 128 episodes. There's no way I would have the drive to, even after hiatuses that I've had with the show over the last 5.5 years. It's hard to believe this has been a thing for 5.5 years.
Flies, man.
It's my most prized possession as far as creations in this space. It shows because of the amount of work I put into it, right? Like I love it, but it's the people like yourself that keep coming back and we keep picking up where we left off the last time, keep having a fun time. I have just as much fun as you all do, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to be here, my brother. Before I get into my final word, I wanted to touch up with that. So I'll take all these graphics off my face, just like I did for him, because it could be a little bit much when you have words looking like I got tattooed on my forehead, and then they don't move when I move my head, which makes it even look a little different. But right here for this episode 128 is a special one, mainly because it's during the week. I'm normally at work right now for another few hours, and then driving home at 2 and 3 in the morning Eastern time after working a long night. So to be able to take this week off for PTO and to do this with Darrell, make some time to work, within his schedule. Because like he was saying, with doing the NFL, it's tough to get him on here on a Sunday. So to be able to do this and to break down the topics that we did and have the fun tonight means a lot to me, and to be able to have a special edition episode during the week. Like I said earlier, Darrell is here tonight, but Rob is here again this Sunday. The 16-time Vault of Fame inductee will be here for episode 129, our second episode in the month of December. And then that will continue our string of Sunday episodes around 8 or so. It's generally a good time because it's ended perfectly to where I still get to watch like the last quarter to quarter and a half of Sunday Night Football. And this past week with what we had was perfect because all the other stuff throughout the game, it's not good for your cardiac health because we've had situations in the past of that. We've talked about it for me personally, but also for the fan base in general. So many rough years. And that would have been a tough game to watch for the first 3.5 quarters. It was fun to watch the last quarter and a half. Anyway, 8:05 is our good time for Sundays. I've had a lot of fun with this project right here, and glad to be able to bring it back for those of you like Sick Diggy, who's been a very, very loyal guest out here with other programs that I've had, but a very, very loyal friend out here with commenting and stuff and watching. Thank you to him. And to those of you who watch this after the live the next day or so and comment and like and share and subscribe, we greatly appreciate it over here at the brand known as
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
128 episodes in the books. We've had a great time tonight for that, for the nine-time Vault of Fame inductee. We're going to look at the comments one last time as Ryan McCarthy's out in the house. He made it, says 9 is terrible, and we of the McCarthy can disavow him.
Dang, bro. Man, the McCarthy, man. And you know it's bad when you start getting when you get disowned by your people. That's crazy. Like, sorry, McCarthy, you're out of here, buddy. You're no longer McCarthy. You got to change your last name. Just McCarthy.
Bruh, I feel bad. He never even said that about Mike McCarthy of Dallas Cowboys and the former Green Bay Packers. Because at least he has a Super Bowl.
He's got a Super Bowl in there, you know. He got a Super Bowl in there.
I could feel that I wouldn't say the hatred, because Ryan's not the type of person. I've known him because we've done a lot of episodes together here.
Right.
He's not the type of person that has hate in his heart. Okay. He doesn't have the hate in his heart. All right. He's not like that. That's why we're friends. Okay. But of course you can disapprove of something quite much and not approve and not be okay with something. He is not okay with like and those red eyes that he had, like made him look like a demon out there, because he just flips the switch on the sideline and is ready to disassemble his opponent. Instead, he gets disassembled himself when he throws 9 interceptions.
It's bad.
And Sick is loving it, giving us the praise out here. For those of you who've been here throughout, whether it was the start or now at the end, whenever you showed up, thank you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate your support out here in these streams. We'll see you again Sunday night, 8:05 p.m. Eastern time for the regular time, as I got to get ready to go back to work next week. But you all have a safe and fun rest of this week. Hope you had a great holiday week this past week. And remember, whether it's Kwanzaa or Christmas, you got a busy month to go with the sexiest month of the year, as Darrell has each and every year. Check him out, Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie TV as well. We've only got one thing left to show you, and that's one semi-badass outro. For Darrell Owens, I am Drew Willingham. Everybody, as always, stay safe out here in these streets.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.